Hey everybody, today I want to talk about two Van Morrison albums that I just uploaded to my website, needlemeetsvinyl.com. And these are two albums that I have loved for a very, very long time. So I'm very, very excited to finally have them on the website and talk about them here with all of you. So the first one is one of my favorite Van Morrison albums, and I think maybe one of his most accessible albums. It's his album from 1971 called Tupelo Honey. And for those of you who maybe don't know about Van Morrison's career all that much, he's an artist that always goes with his gut, and sometimes that results in albums that are a little bit more out there, a little bit more artistic. But then at times he also makes albums that are really, really commercial and makes really, really commercial songs like Brown Eyed Girl, Moondance, those kind of songs. He's had a bunch of hits throughout his career. But this album kind of, as a ambulance is going to go by here. There it goes. That was a long one this time. Okay, so back to Tupelo Honey. So this album kind of has the best of all of that, and I think that's why it's one of his most accessible albums. It has a really, really popular song, the very first song on here, called Wild Night. That's just an excellent tune, but it also has a bunch of other really, really great songs, like a song called Straight to Your Heart Like a Cannonball, a song in here called Old Woodstock, Starting a New Life, a bunch of excellent tunes on this album. And the great thing about this album is that it sounds so great, and there's a bunch of reasons for that. One of the biggest reasons is that it was recorded at Wally Heider Studios in San Francisco. And that's a studio that I talk about a lot. It's a studio that a lot of famous albums were created at Wally Heider Studios, including Deja Vu by Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, a bunch of albums by the Grateful Dead, some albums by the Jefferson Airplane, so just a top-notch studio. And this album was recorded there as well. And it sounds so wonderful, especially on this pressing. So let me show you. This is an original US pressing on the green Warner Brothers label. Now, this is very hard to find in good condition. Trust me on that. I've gone through upwards of 8 to 10 of this exact same pressing of this album, and while a lot of them sounded really good, most of them were in just absolutely terrible condition, and there's many reasons for that. Probably the number one reason is because people just love this album so much that they played it over and over again and didn't really take the best care of it. But this one is in absolutely beautiful condition, near mint condition, and as you can see, it's very clean on both sides, and it just sounds absolutely wonderful. Has just a rich quality to it, a lot of depth within the actual soundscape. You can like almost see into the soundscape. It's just a really wonderful album. And for anybody that has heard this album before, if you've heard one of these green label pressings, you know how excellent it sounds. Especially compared to the more common release for this album, which I will show you. I kept one of these over here. The more common Tupelo Honey pressing is on this later Warner Brothers album. And while this one still sounds pretty good, you cannot at all compare it to this green Warner Brothers label. It's like night and day. And if you happen to have two of these at your disposal, do an A/B test. It's one of those that I will guarantee you will love the green label way more than this later Warner Brothers label one. And like I said, this one doesn't sound bad at all, but the green label, it's like a whole nother thing. And on top of that, I went through, like I said, I think around, I'm going to say 8 just to be safe. I think I went through 8 of them. And of all of the 8, this one was the absolute gem in the bunch. So wonderful, just excellent low end, so much clarity, really the only way to listen to this album. And if you haven't really gotten into Van Morrison, I think Tupelo Honey is a really good place to start. It's it's just a really, really well crafted album and just sounds great all around. So check out Tupelo Honey. I highly recommend it. One of my favorites. The next Van Morrison album is an album called Wavelength. So this is a later 70s release. I believe this was released in 1978. Yeah, 1978. Now, this is kind of an interesting album for Van Morrison. So on this album, he kind of embraces the modern technology of the time. So there's a lot of like really bright guitars, occasional synthesizers going on, but not over the top. Not like the 80s synthesizers that came into play that really kind of ruined music. More of like the later kind of more trippy kind of synthesizer work is what I would call it, like the Pink Floyd kind of stuff. Which is really interesting to hear Van Morrison working with that kind of production going on in the background. But this is a really, really great album, and in my opinion, one of the albums of his that kind of gets overlooked a lot. And it has excellent sound on top of that. And the other cool thing is that when he made this album, he got a lot of really great musicians from his past to all play together. So he kind of cherry-picked people. And some of the people that play on here are people like Garth Hudson from the band, plays a lot of those synth parts that I was talking about, and a lot of organ and parts like that. He also has one of his older bandmates from the band Them. Them, of course, recorded, they did Gloria and a bunch of those early classic songs. So he got a bunch of great people to play on this album with him. And this is on the Warner Brothers label. As you can see, this is from 1978. And it just has a really great sound and a lot of very, very catchy songs. And my favorite song on this album is a song called Natalia. It's so catchy and just has excellent sound going all throughout it. So if this is an album that you've maybe seen before, but didn't really know much about it, I'm telling you right now, it's a great record and very catchy and very unique for Van Morrison. So that's it for now. I just wanted to let you know about these two Van Morrison albums. So if you're interested in either of these or both of them, head over to the website, needlemeetsvinyl.com. Check these out and stay tuned for lots more records, including Beatles for Sale, which I will be posting probably tomorrow. Excellent copy of Beatles for Sale. And more records to come. So stay tuned and bye for now.